Hello, hello, my friends. Chag Shavuot Sameach. And this holiday is important of our Jewish nation because we became as a nation, not of Yechidim, is one by one with other one, or groups. No, as a nation. This is the time that this is a temple with no favors of UN in America. God decided only. So, this holiday called in a few names. It's very interesting, and every name has interpretation of itself. The first is Shavuot because we are counting from Pesach to Shavuot 7 weeks. So Shavua is week. Okay, Shavua is a week. And Matan Torah is Torah given from Sinai mountain. That's why we are called it Matan Torah. And Bikurim, that was the time that whole Israel go to Jerusalem to sacrifice their first fruits from their field. They showed that it's a proof that whole our world belongs to God. All my trees, all my food is belong to God. That's why I'm doing that. And that's why we are doing Maaser. One part 10, we need to make every kind of food to the Kohen and to the Levi, because God say, and there are the servants of God in the temple. So we need our Israel, simple Israel, have to give them some food and to serve them because they serve God for us. They are our deliverers. Okay. Another Chag Katzir, when we cut the field, and the fields we are not collecting, but we are making to cut the how do you say, the weight in the fields. This is the time of Katzir. It's called Katzir. When we cut it from the field, it's called Katzir. And Chachamim, our wisers, Chazal, added another name, Atzeret. What is Atzeret? It's stop. It's Ru'imi. God asked Israel, please stop one day for me. Okay? It's Atzeret. Is remind you, Atzeret, another Atzeret in Shmini Atzeret. After Sukkot, the 7 days of Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret, it's true, please stop one day more for me. Ask God. Can you imagine? So, we have to know that if Israel would not accept the Torah as the whole nations, Egypt and Americans and Russia and Syria and Jordan and all Arabs and all kinds of nations, the numbers of the whole nations are 70. as exactly the count of Jacob when he came from Israel to Egypt in Bereshit, in Genesis. The Torah said it was exactly 70 people with Yaakov. Okay? It's not, it's all exactly as the other world, spiritual world. So, if Israel would not accept the Torah, God was and would have been destroyed this world at a second, because the whole world exist because Israel that learning the Torah and do it, the whole mitzvot. This is the one condition and the only one that God created this world. And he waited. God waited a lot of years from Abraham to the being Israel in the mountain, Sinai mountain. It was about exactly 500 years. And I did this account, and we have to know, this is so important for us to know that, what is the importance for learning Torah. And it was in Israel, Shevet Levi. I don't like to call it tribu, because we are not tribu like the whole kinds of nations that you know in Africa. No. That's why I'm not using in this word. It's Shevet. We call it Shevet. That's it. So God waited 500 years. Why? To make a nation, it's a big process. And to build it from the base until Moshe, it's cost a lot of years, and only God knows how to do that and why he did it like this way. We're not asking questions about God, but we want to know how, and maybe we will understand something in the by the way. So we have to know one more thing, that Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they did the whole Torah, because Brit Milah did Abraham, and so on, all his sons. And what else? Pesach, we saw Yitzchak when he asked Esav to bring him a sheep. Yes, it was Pesach, Korban Pesach, sacrificing of Pesach, and so on. We can watching, but it's secret. The Torah covered. I don't know why, but the main thing for us is the moment from Sinai mountain. This is moment that we accept the Torah from heaven. This is another situation, another form. The world changed spirituality and maybe physically. That's, I don't know how to say that, but it's for sure. When something in the spirit at heaven change, it's exactly looks and seems here. But we cannot watch because it's in processing. So that's why I concentrate about this day, Matan Torah, that we accepted the Torah and we swear to do every mitzvah and to be a good slave to God. And when a slave say, I accept all the mitzvot, except one, it's not a slave. He broke the, he broke the rules, like the whole rules, because if you accept someone, you have to accept him as completely, as he is. If you say no, one condition here, and no, it's not going like that. So that's why we have to learn and to know this issue on the details. So Moshe make something amazing. God say, here, ויהי ביום השלישי. Wait a second. Oh, Moses go up to the mountain, and God said, Lech, go, אל העם, to the nation, וקידשתם היום ומחר, וחיפשו סמלותם. You must to be holy and to wash your clothes, to be clean, no dirty. And it was like three conditions to do before we are accepting the Torah. One is to take, for a while, of course, distance from the woman. Woman and man cannot be together. That's why there is something that called Mita Yehudit, a Jewish bed. What is that? You can separate the bed, not one bed as one stick. No, we have to buy a bed for the couple that you can separate in the time that the lady is not pure for 7th day and more 7 days to be clean and to keep it. Okay, it's another issue. So God asked them to take a distance from their wives and to go to the mikveh, to get inside to the water, pure water, okay? Like river, like mikveh is 40 se'ah, is an account that go only, the waters go from raining, not by simple water. And third, to wash your clothes. 3 things to prepare ourselves for this moment. And God told him, Hayom umachar. What is today and tomorrow? How many? 2 days. But you have to know something good and strong, that Moshe had more 1 day. What is that? God told you 2 days. Why you say 3 days? It's for us a symbol that when the Torah is here on this earth, we are deciding exactly when we mekadeshim et halevana, the moon, when she is starting, there is two witnesses that come to court, to the Beit Din, and say, we saw the levana, the moon is such and such thing, situation, and the court, the Beit Din say, mekudash, 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 3 times. And this is first like Sivan. Wait, if the Beit Din not accept those witnesses, and only tomorrow they got the witnesses, another witnesses, so the holiday of Shavuot will be delayed for tomorrow because the court, the Beit Din decided, not at heaven. When God sent us, gave us to the Torah, we are like the honor of the Torah, Israel. Thanks God. It's amazing. It's amazing. We cannot understand that. It's so simple, but that's it. I have a lot of examples, but the time. So, until we accept the Torah, those 500 years, God made this process and make us pure and pure and more pure until we were slaves to Paro. It's not for vain. We have to learn how to be a real slave to the giant king of that. Paro was the highest, like like Russian. They were very stubborn before Stalin, if you know. So we had to teach what is slave, and from slave of Paro, we became switch 180 degrees, degrees, malot, to this slave to God. That's what the big lesson that we being taught by this galut, exile. So and we have to know that the angels didn't agree with God. Kivyachol is like, because it's not simple to say object and not agree. It's very gentle. I don't know how to say it in English, but they were argue and ask God not to give Israel the Torah. Why? Because they were afraid that the Jewish will make a new Torah of themselves. A new Torah of themselves. That's why in the tefillah, every day, we are asking God, after the 3 first Shevach, for honor of God, and the Amidah, we say, Ata chonel adam da'at, we're asking sechel, mind, and the second ask is Hashivenu avinu letoratecha. Listen, please bring us back to your Torah, to your Torah. What is that, to your Torah? You gave us the Torah. I think, that there is a vidui in Yom Kippur that Rabbi Yehuda Halevi said, שלמדנו את תורתנו ולא את תורתך. We learned our Torah and not your Torah. It's a sin because we thought that the attending of this mitzvah, of this learning, is another opinion, and it wasn't true, and it's a sin. That's why we need to know and to learn the Torah of Hashem, not of our private Torah. I hope you understand that. That's why we suffered so hard from Mashiach Sheker. Mashiach Sheker is a lie Mashiach. There were a lot of Mashiach Sheker in Israel. Shabtai Tzvi, Rasha, and Frank, I don't know his first name, Frank. It was in German, I think. He was Mashiach Sheker. And Mendelssohn, he was the chief rabbi of the reform of today. He didn't intending to arrive to this situation of the reform of today, but he was like a rabbi, but he changed something, and he didn't know that he will arrive to this situation that the reform are destroyed after our Judaism. It's terrible what they are doing to us. This is of Israel, and Jesus the same. He is Mashiach Sheker. He is a liar of Mashiach. Like Shabtai Tzvi and like Frank. And like Korach. Do you know who was Korach? We will, in a few weeks, we will read in the Torah, Korach. He was arguing with Moshe. What God intending, what God say real? How do you know? You are not prophet, but he was wiser. But he heard why God chose Aaron and Moshe to be leaders, and he didn't give him a good job, and he start and change his mind and start to argue with Moshe. That's it, like the reform. It's amazing because Shmuel, the prophet, came from Korach. He's son of Korach. And Korach thought that, okay, I'm better than Moshe and Aaron. And he wrong. It's a lot of midrash that talk about that. So this is the dangerous that one man can destroy the whole Judaism to change something, because slave is keep the whole mitzvah in the same form, no change, in not time of changing, modern time and so on. No, the rule is a rule. And this is very important for us to know. And Moshe makes another mistake. God told him, Amecha, your nation, make the egel. and the sacrifice of foreign worship. Because Moshe saw a lot of Egypts want to join to Israel nation. And Moshe, okay, I will convert you. Okay, make Brit Milah and make Tvila, go inside the water and mikveh. And Moshe, God said, you didn't ask me if to accept them or not. So it's your problem. And the Torah called them Asafsuf and Erev Rav. Erev Rav is the side of Israel nation. And they are makes problems now for us. They looks like Jewish, but they are devil in clothes of rabbi, and you don't know who is the real rabbi and a liar rabbi. There are. We don't know them. I cannot talk more than I can allow to myself to talk. That's why it's very important to keep the law as it written. No wisers. No, oh no, because it's modern. Now modern. Forgive me. This is the rule of God. No changing. So, why God sent the Torah for us on Sinai town? There is a lot of interpretation about that, but the Sinai mountain was very low, anava, modest, and that's what God like, modest. Don't be pride, because the pride is the dress of God only. So it's a symbol for us to be modest. That's what God loves, a modest person. Don't be pride, because nothing is not belong to us. Only these clothes, our soul, our body, our field, our trees, our money, it's not of us. We are only the delivering to do good things. That's what God sent us. And another interpretation about Sinai town. Sinai is in Hebrew Sinai, and it's close to the word sin'ah, hate. When we have to know that when Israel nation got the Torah from heaven, from God, the whole other nations heard it because the ground shook, and whole Sinai town became a lot of flowers and smelling, and it's arrived to the whole over the world, and they knew that Israel got the Torah because the heaven was fire. Its whole nation talked, what's happened there? And then in a few days, all the world knew that Israel got the Torah. So this is a big lesson for us, to be most modest and to know that most of the non-Jewish, I don't know, I can't say a lot, all, because it's not true. There is a lot of non-Jewish that love Israel, really. But unfortunately, the Holocaust and Khmelnytsky from Ukraine, and Amalek, he's a German male, maybe Amalek, and Plishtim, if you know Bible, Plishtim fight against Israel all time. Why? Because they hate us. It's halacha that Esav hate Jewish, hate Yaakov, and Yaakov is our father, and Esau, all his sons, is Russia and Ukraine, and I'm sorry, that's the truth, but not all. There is a lot of people that saved in the Holocaust, saved Jewish, because that's why we don't know who hates us. An anti-Semitic, the anti-Semitic is a proof that there is hate. They ask in the radio and the television, someone against the Jewish, why you hate them? He said, I don't know. That's a proof that when Sinai is Sin'ah, they don't know why they hate us. But that's good. And God promised us, when they call the voice of Yaakov, of us, our sons, we are his sons, is reading the Torah and learning the Torah, the hands of Esau is closed. That's it. But when Israel not learning Torah good, so Esau start to beat and so on. That's a proof. I'm sorry. That's it. So the Midrash tell us that before the third day that we accept the Torah, Moshe, in those 3 limit days, it's called to be pure and to learn Torah and so on, he sacrificed and he built 12 altars, and he sacrificed for honor of God before we accept the Torah, and the whole blood he threw upon the heads of Israel nation. It's like form an alliance when 2 groups or 2 nations and make an agreement. It's like an agreement, and there is a lot of kinds of agreements, like Avimelech and Abraham, and they cut 7 ships. It's a few kinds of agreements between people and between nations. So those blood he threw upon the heads of Israel. It's a miracle. We can explain it. And the Tevilah and the God ordered the Israel nation to get inside the water. This is a real conversion from new. So can we ask, wow, we were a Jewish in the beginning from Abraham. What's happened? No, we were only one person and one person and one person. We were not a big nation, one big nation. It's another form of nation. That's why we need to make it in the beginning, like converters. So that's what Chazal say. It was real converters. And the Brit Milah they did in Egypt to eat their Pesach sacrifice. Who does not make Brit Milah, he cannot eat the Korban Pesach. So it's real where conversion, as we are doing now, as in the past. It's amazing. So we have to know that in today, this Tafshin Membet, Tafshin Peibet, Tafshin this 2022 years, we are make the holiday directly after Shabbat. Yeah, we no הפסקה, no with help me. So Shabbat and immediately holiday. The first day holiday on Sunday, and on Monday in the abroad, in France, in England, in Puerto Rico. They making the second day, and I will explain why. Remind me, please. And that's why you are doing in the two shitot, that in 6th of Sivan we got the Torah, but actually we got the Torah in the second day that Moshe had. It's in the 7th of Sivan this month. So you are making the two holidays that they are real, that the first start, the process start on 6th of Sivan, this is Maharal say, and actually we got the Torah on the 7th of Sivan. So you are making the whole holiday of the 2 days, the real 2 days. So thank you for your listening, and if you have questions, please write me, and I'm waiting to your questions. It's very important for you, yes, but for me it's a great pleasant, believe me. So cheer and Chag Sameach, and we say Chag Shavuot Sameach, and I hope you really get the Torah in your heart, and God will help you to accept the Torah, and actually, like in the 6th Sivan and the 7th of Sivan, I pray for you that God will bless you in all your needs for the conversion to be actually, and God, if you will pray from your heart, God will help you, I promise you. Thank you very much, and Chag Sameach.